everybody keeps asking me, since I'm bigger than Eric, why am I littler than him in the avatar? Because it's an avatar.
Yes.
That's what it's. That's when I decided to make that bear. That's how big he was. And then when I decided to make Eric, guess what I said to myself? He's gonna be long and lanky. Maybe I'm just fatting around. This is real life.
Maybe I'm just long and lanky.
You've only seen me sitting down. So what's your excuse? Get off my back. Welcome, everybody. That's gonna be our entry roll right there. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
We are not in the man cave,
No.
but we're still tight on the floor.
Yeah.
We are at my boy Eric's house. This is the identity booth. Your host, Heero. And with me, as always, is a faithful friend and companion in life.
Yeah.
He's not gay because he's my brother.
Yeah.
We got some good news. I can't talk about it. I can't wait to write this book. We're gonna write.
Hey, bro. Literally. When you talk about lurking in the shadows, that's a term y'all gonna hear from us quite often on this right now. Lurking in the shadows to get business done.
Business is booming. Eric, how you doing, bro?
Man, I'm doing well, bro. How about you?
Yeah, like I said, a few weeks ago, I could have been like, man, I'm down on my luck. Oh, happy day.
Yeah. Opportunities present themselves, and you take those opportunities and you keep on moving forward in life. And
I have to say something. I know we talk about money a lot, and we got a beautiful comment, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Beautiful comment.
Yes, we did, man.
Changed
my life.
I don't want to put like names and everything out there just yet because I haven't consulted that person to see if it was okay.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to read it, Heero, because it was.
You want to read it? Read
I'm
it.
gonna have to because it was just that beautiful.
It was, and it let us know something. As Eric's looking for the message, it let us know something that what we're doing here is very important. There are people who honestly want to know about this stuff, like the stock market and how to function with things. And some of the internal conversations we had, like. People are being presented with questions and issues at work about DACA, and they don't really have an expertise on it.
Exactly.
And we're giving them an insight to conversations that they normally can't have at work.
Yeah.
So, do you have that?
Yeah.
Read it out.
A young lady, I don't know her name because this is a screenshot from you, but it says, I absolutely love the podcast. I drive a lot for work, and I'm just so happy to have a great podcast for us, by us. Financial literacy with Eric is life, with the worship hands up. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for bringing something so useful to our people. End quote. Whoever you wrote that means a lot to you.
You know who you are. I'm always DMing you. She's an adamant listener. She's a fan of the comic book.
Yes.
Like I said, I don't want to put you out there. I don't know if that's something you want to be publicized because we do talk about some really interesting things that might be hard for people to swallow. But the important part is that you guys are enjoying it. Mm-hmm. This is episode 8. Yes. So we get the questions from Valentine's Day, so y'all have already seen that video by now.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of questions last week, and I insulted this dude named AD. I'm here to tell you he wrote me back.
Hey.
I'm going to leave it at that. He said I should stop making fun of our guests, and our writers. So AD, this is me humbly apologizing, not because I feel bad for what I said, but because Eric made me. I'm sorry. And we're going to go to the news. Hey, we were thinking about getting somebody else on a podcast. I'm looking at my friend Ray Duke-Shane. The Skywalker, he's about to be a daddy March 2nd.
Oh, amen to the daddies.
Amen to him. So I want to see if I can get him on the show. He's a good friend of mine, college football player with me. Yeah. He's been running his own business since he left college. That's cool. And he's his own boss. And I want to talk about that liberation.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
and you have a situation where we're tied down to a company, and we're constrained in our hours, but he goes out every morning and hustles at 6 a.m. when I do my AM reports. Yeah. He's publicizing his business, and it's in a way where you can't be mad at him. Yeah. It's a hustle, and I love it. So I'm gonna try and get him on there before he gets too busy with the daddy duties.
Yes. And ASAP.
So the topics we're gonna be covering today is our crazy dads, police brutality, the tasing pregnant women, the stock market dip. The stock market took a big dip, so we'll talk about that. We'll also be talking about the quote-unquote woke people, and we'll also be talking about the Super Bowl champion Eagles, and not the football game, but the riots that took place after the game, and the comparisons that's being drawn with Black Lives Matter. So let's get right into it. We can clap, sync. 3, 2, 1. Amen. So I got about 4 minutes to count. All right. So we're going to talk about crazy dads, and there's a myth in our community that black men aren't part of their children's lives.
Yeah.
And this is not necessarily a myth as much as it's pretty much equal when you adjust for demographics. Mm-hmm. Black men are absentee in their children's lives just as much as white people are when you adjust for inflation. So it's fair to say that this contrived idea of black men not being father figures is bad. And it is. It's horrible. But the problem we're having here is when black fathers are in their children's lives, they're still being patronized. They're still being attacked. And the prime example we have is LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
And who's the other dad right now? There was one more. I know we said crazy dads. LeVar Ball.
I don't really know of any other crazy dads. I mean,
or I guess we could open up to parents because there's this recent thing also going on with the lady who her son decided to go to Florida instead of Alabama, and she walked off the stage. Have you heard about this? So we'll just talk about like single family households in general.
Well, if we're gonna do that, I like to make a comparison between LeVar Ball and the mama, and sports moms versus sports dads, because we can go back just a year, not even a year, to Kevin Durant's mama, LeBron James' mama, all the worship of the mamas and their antics. But LeVar Ball is being destroyed in the media for being what some people might call a genius.
I don't think he's being destroyed by the media. He's being propagated by the media. The media keeps giving him outlet.
They do it to ridicule him.
Yeah, we are doing it. But we're allowing it and accepting it. Because if you ask me, honest opinion right now, LeVar Ball is a great father.
Yes.
Because LeVar Ball has managed to get all three of his sons in a situation where they are set for life.
Yes.
They are all making money.
And he did that with like $4 million. Like he graduated high school, college, got an NFL. Expansion team with the Panthers. That's how he got his money. Nobody really knows that, but he got his money playing with the expansion team Panthers. Got about $4 or $5 million playing in the league. Moved out to Chino Hills and married. He picked his wife based on her genetics, sheer genetics. And people was like, man, that's so prejudiced. No, but it's so ingenious. He wanted to give his children, his sons, the best chance physically to be a specimen. And a lot of things that LeVar is getting is that he's living his life vicariously through his kids. To which ends I say, if my dad wanted to live a multi-million-dollar lifestyle through me, I'd be okay with that. I'm okay with that too. First of all, he was already a multi-millionaire. He played in the NFL. For most black men, that is the pinnacle of existence. You know, hey, going to the league of any sort. And I've always been of the type to say that there's no exploiting the kid that lives under your roof. I'm sorry. For the first 18 years, hey bro, this is basically a down payment at this point. At this point. And people ridicule him for that, and I feel like that's a little bit unfair. Yeah. And not only unfair to the extent that, you know, maybe he needs to start showing more of a leadership role, but I feel like after there's a great little skit that him and Kevin Hart do is all over Facebook right now. Yes, I haven't got to watch it. It's hilarious. But what you get is you understand what his objective is. He showboats to draw the attention. Yeah. That's why when LeVar Ball doesn't have a good game, it's all not LeVar. What's it? Lonzo. When Lonzo doesn't have a good game, LeVar Ball gets on TV and makes a fool out of himself. So the pressure isn't on his son. A lot of people don't understand the concept of mask and deceit. You can smile in someone's face, and they can turn around and you think that's the time for you to strike. No. You wait till they're too far to realize who hit them. Exactly. And that's what LeVar Ball does. And I feel like the argument we were trying to figure out is he a mad genius or is he a lucky idiot? And I said, that just for the sake of argument here, I'm going to say he's a lucky idiot, but you definitely believe he's a mad genius. Okay, let's check this out. So he took his little bit of money he got from the NFL, In 95, he's parlayed it into, you know, okay, so he's got one son, drafted number 2 by the Los Angeles Lakers, run by the Magic Johnson. On top of that, his son has a very lucrative agreement. In basketball, money is guaranteed money. His kids aren't out here getting smacked around like he was. Already, the second point is just flat out. He tried to get a major contract with Adidas, Under Armour, Nike. They weren't having it, so Big Baller Brand. Big Baller Brand hasn't taken up a lot of, you know, market share. But what did he do? Took his son out of UCLA after the little incident, pulled his other son out of Cherry Hills High School, sent them to Lithuania. Lithuanian basketball was getting no love. They getting 1 million views on Facebook.
$400 million signing agreement with Facebook to have exclusive rights to all their games.
Okay, how powerful is that? And on the court, what does it say? Big Baller Brand in the middle of the basketball.
Lonzo has his own shoe deal, and he doesn't wear them. So he has his own shoe deal that he can neglect, and he has the right to wear his shoes and still have his contract. They have manipulated the system.
Yes.
And I feel like me being the bad guy in this situation, the reason why it's not good is because it causes instability, which is perfectly fine.
Yes.
It's hard for me to say that this guy's an idiot because, as far as I'm concerned, he's in their life, he's doing the right thing, and they big ballers. So what you mad about? Get out. If you're a black parent doing this, and I will speak a little bit to the lady who walked off stage. You know, I don't know the whole story. Stories are coming out now saying that the reason why the mother walked off the stage is because the kid is in gangs, and the gangs are in Florida. They were from Florida, so he's choosing to pick the gang life over the college life. Other people have said Alabama pays good money to get kids, and I'm here to tell you it is true. They do pay to get kids to come to places. I know I got paid a whole bunch of money under the table when I was playing in college, but that might be true or might not be true. I don't know. NCAA is gonna come after the fucking Arkansas. Ain't nobody coming out in the yard. But you're a fool if you believe money isn't involved, and you're an even bigger fool to believe that that mother doesn't truly love her son. So I'll say this: fathers definitely, you're gonna ridicule the black man. Period. It's just easier.
Yep.
In our society, it's easier to blame the black man.
Yep.
And that's what you guys gonna do. Our recommendation to you guys is support LeVar Ball. I'm not here to say anything, but if I need to buy jogging pants,
I'm gonna go to Big Baller Brand.
yeah. If I have to buy jogging pants, and they're all black, and the difference is a check mark and 3 Bs, I'm gonna go get 3 Bs. Not even because I like the dude. I think he's an arrogant, pompous asshole, but he's a good father, which is all that matters.
Yep.
So that's out the door. Now we're talking about police brutality, and this is gonna sound strange. Police brutality, but this one's different. How the fuck is it different than any other form of police brutality?
It's not.
But it's significantly different because it's an attack on women, and I think that's the defining feature for this story. There's no research to back this up yet, but statistically speaking, we're starting to notice a trend that women who are pregnant so far as first trimester, who experienced police brutality where a taser was involved, their children are being born with birth defects along the lines of seizure, epileptic episodes, premature birth, malnutrition, attention deficit disorder, and a host of other life-threatening issues.
Yeah.
And the research, and the sad part about it is there's no research to back it, but I believe the number was 900,000 tasers were deployed last year.
That's a lot.
I felt like that was small, considering that 1,000 people died from like gun violence by officers. I feel like if 1,000 people, like you told me 900 deployers were deployed and only 200 people died from gunfire by officers, okay, yeah. But when you hear 900,000 people, and I'm vaguely remembering this number, but still 1,000 people had to die, that means like, okay, you're not using the taser correctly, and you're not saving anybody. And the thing about tasers is, the reason that make them so dangerous is once you are shot with a taser, you don't have your innate defensive mechanism skill set. So if you fall to the ground, your initial reaction is to brace yourself.
Yeah.
But because you've been tased, those motor neurons have been shut down, and your sympathetic nerve reactions are gone, and you can't defend yourself. You can't run, fight, or defend. You fall.
And you fall basically like a log because it causes your body to lock up. And the safest way to fall is with a loose body.
Yeah. Even if they're, and the worst part about it is, I'm pretty sure if I look into these numbers, if I'm just using it based on the national average, which is 36%, at least 36% of those taser deployments were uncalled for.
That doesn't surprise me though. I know we've had conversations about just the sheer competency of police officers and how they recruit and what the maximum IQ they prefer. Mm-hmm. We're talking about the majority of officers nowadays are have 100 IQ or less, and the national average for IQ is 100. So they want less than the national average.
They want people who follow instructions, not think for themselves.
Automatons. They want robots. They want people who really don't have the ability to think logically through a process in a split second. They just want people to react.
And the question now is becoming, once again, with the police, what the police don't need are more weapons.
Yes.
They need more training.
Yes.
So there's a question being asked, there was a serious situation being asked about having police officers de-armed. And to the extent of they can only use weapons once advised, which will put them into more of a game situation. In the reality of terms, when an officer confronts a suspect with 3 or more people initially, that instance is dropped down to nearly 13% of harm or force being used. Mm-hmm. It's more of a practical thing. If you see 3 people against 1, you're going to back down. So they're opting out of, well, we know statistically speaking, when there's more of you guys, less bad things happen. So why don't we take the approach of having multiple people there and take away some of these weapons that can only be used once authorized. No longer is it your call. If you have the instance of feeling you're in danger, before you leave the vehicle, you need to make that call.
Yeah, I mean, riding in your car with a shotgun. How many times has an officer ever had to use a shotgun? Why do they ride with a shotgun? Number 2.
What would you use a shotgun to take? There's been an argument that you could use it to take down a motor vehicle. I said,
no, you can't.
I was like, okay, I'll let you have that. But if someone's driving at me with a car, I'm not thinking about stopping that car.
I'm trying to get out of the way.
Or versus, I have to play fair. Half the reason why these officers have all these guns is because there's 8 guns to every human being in the United States right now. That's mind-numbing to me because you only have 2 hands. What do you need 8 guns for? But I understand why officers are afraid. Because if you know, statistically speaking, the person walking next to you has 8 guns, you only have 1. So you constantly feel out, man. But what we're noticing is disproportionately black people suffering the consequences. And ironically, in the video, the 3 women referenced.
We already know.
Okay. So
we don't have to say. And here's the issue again. And I know that people are going to realize, Heero and I, what our main objective is to educate black people, especially the males. I mean, obviously us being black males, but we want to keep everybody safe. But there are a lot of things.
Y'all heard Shawnee last week. You heard their little jingle. That blew me away.
I mean, but that's how we roll. I mean, my wife's 5 foot nothing. I'm sorry. If it comes down to a police officer and my wife, they got to go. I'm not even hesitating. I'm not even going to think twice about it.
And that speaks to something bigger. We need to get away from the situation of putting our women in this circumstance.
Exactly.
And that's why I preach literacy. One of the most annoying things to me is when my family members, I'm the creator and founder of VTO, and my own family members don't know how to act when an officer comes up. And I'm saying that was back in the day, but today it's different. But this is not something I can tell you one time you're going to know, because every altercation, situation, transaction with an officer is going to be different. So it's important to be familiar with the process. not a certain situation.
Yeah.
There's times when an officer's gonna come to you and crack a joke. But if you acting all serious, you change the tone. It's important to be able to gauge situations. And that's something that I'm noticing that people aren't doing well with officers. Gauging them.
Yeah.
I gauge officers. And what I mean by this is when an officer comes up to me and his first words are license and registration, he's letting me know he's had it for the day.
Yeah.
And what I mean by this, he's allowed to have it at the day. Just like you get tired at your job, they get tired at their job. It's hard to be professional 24/7. So you have to bear with him. Hey, officer, didn't catch your name, didn't catch your department. Is there a problem here? And his immediate response, if not polite, is going to be, I told my name is this or this, and I asked for your license and registration. You have to be comfortable with taking the L. I got it on my shirt. You're not going to lose your life in court. You will lose it if you decide to fight a dude with a gun. So you have to pick your battles. And if you're a pregnant woman, and I feel like I'm victim shaming, but you have to have the self-preservation of mind of your child.
Yes.
Your child doesn't have the opportunity to defend himself.
Yes.
You have to be able to take that L of just submitting. Hey, look, whatever you want. If you want to arrest me, I'm not going to resist. Here, don't force it to get to a point where they have to put hands on you.
Okay, I will say in ladies' defense, I mean, we understand that there's a gamut of emotions that are running through. There's a bunch of different kind of hormones running through a woman's body during the pregnancy time. And a lot of reactions you get from a pregnant woman, from my personal experience, this is just my own experience, don't get offended, ladies. It's just knee-jerk sometimes. It's just boom. If I feel like you've done me wrong, I'm going to give you the first thing that comes to my mind. It wasn't even that I'm completely neglecting the fact that I'm pregnant. It's just I just want to bite your head off because you're a man 9 times out of 10, and I feel this way today.
And I'm gonna stop you right there and use one of your terminologies against you. What about emotional
intelligence?
Control and intelligence. And the reason why I say it's important to do those two things is because whether you like it or not, they don't care about you.
100%.
So if you know the person that you're fighting doesn't care about you, you have to take care of yourself and then some. And once again, it comes down to petty, like, you just have to understand the parameters of your situation. Understand the dynamic of your situation. This is real life. You will die. There's no restarts, there's no press play, there's no pause.
Yeah.
Your ability to be able to understand situations you're being put in because of your emotional distress is not grounds for you to take the law into your hands.
Yeah.
You are not going to beat an officer in the physical world. You can beat them in the legal one, though.
Yes, you can.
So let's focus on that. Read up, understand these things. And, I mean, protect the kids. God damn it, protect the kids.
Hey, always protect the kids. And on that note, man, I think something that we need to do, I mean, I know we talked a lot about the finances, but we definitely need to have a series on how to deal with police if you were to encounter them. And we need to, like, actually walk through some scenarios.
Y'all interested in doing that? If I've got some of my police friends to come down and shoot a video with me being pulled over in a real life scenario where we got recording and we narrated over that, if that's something you're interested in, write in, comment below.
Yes, you see right here, Identity Booth, Facebook. You see that? It says like, comment, share, message. Do all 4.
Do something nice for yourself. All right. So let's talk about the tragic situation of the stock market. I lost 17 cents. And it's because I put up, okay, I'll take that back. I made 50 cents.
All right.
But I lost 17 cents because of the drastic dip. And by all technicalities, you're thinking to yourself, that's garbage money. But when you think about, I made that off of 2 pennies, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And granted, I have $100,000 to play with in my demo, and that's how I did it. But when I referenced it in real life with the 500, I definitely froze. I was too afraid to make any move with that because of the drastic dip. So if you don't know, the stock market has gone into a death spiral. And tried to recover this morning. There was a lot of GDP being pushed into the stock economy, early in the morning,
Yep.
right after the oh, by the way, the market closed, so we had a government shutdown, and people feel like it was trying to bounce back, but the government shutdown hit us before they realized what happened.
Yeah.
So what's happening in the market, and if you want to make a dime right now, what are you doing?
Well, first of all, the stock market is set to crash. This, what we saw, was just a precursor to what's going to happen. So we have a lot of things going on in our economy right now. We have a Federal Reserve Bank, which is a privately owned institution that is not run by the government, it's not overseen by the government. The government cannot tell these people what to do. They print our money, they set our interest rates. And if you have the power to set the interest rates and print as much money or as little money as you want, you basically have control over a whole entire country. And that's what happened. So they stopped printing money the end of last year, which means they're not putting a bunch of money into the economy.
I'll say this. The last time I had a physical dollar in my wallet has been over 3 years. You don't see your money anymore. A lot of money that you used to see is now being pushed out of the country.
And that's unfortunate, but here's the issue. So we have inflation historically has increased about 3% every year. That means that your physical money, if you actually have physical money, becomes is worth 3% less year over year, and that's compounding. On top of that, you have interest rates, which were for almost 10 years were zero, is now going up. It's like 1.25%, maybe possibly 1.5%, depending on what the Federal Reserve does in the next few weeks. What does that mean? We got inflation and interest rates. That means that your money, your spending power is going to be about 4.5% to 5% less than it was last year. And what does that mean? You're not getting. Did you get a 5 or 6% raise last year? Gobbled up. If you didn't get that, you're already behind the 8 ball. And what Heero just talked about, you don't have your physical money. I'll tell you this right now. If you got a 401k, you got a 403b, wave it by. If you don't believe me, go and check what happened to people in 2008. Lost 45%. 2001, they lost 50%. And these were people who were set to retire, had to go back into the workforce. You need to get your money and diversify. Take a big part of it and put it in a safe vehicle. Like me personally, giving you some advice. I have a life insurance policy that has an investment vehicle attached to it. It's called an Index Universal Life Policy.
Index, say it again?
Index Universal Life. And basically what that means is that my money that I put in it, part of it goes to pay my premium and part of it goes to invest against an index. So say like the Dow Jones or the S&P. And if the S&P rises a certain percent, then I get a certain percent. So it's got a floor in the ceiling. It's 8 to 17%. So let's say the market goes up 17%, I get that. If it goes up 20%, I only get 17. But if the market doesn't make any money, I don't lose any money. That's called safe money. And when I die, I get the face value of that policy. That's a $500,000 policy that I get on top of my investment money. So if I was to die at 67, I'd have about $16.5 million that could be given out to my family. That's how you create legacy. That's what we're talking about.
And this is something that you guys need to hear, because I really feel like the people I've kind of been trying, I talked to my brother about it, and he's sort of like into the business world, but I've been trying to get him to buy a house, and he's sort of the notion like, why? And I was like, valid point, but you know, he's in prime real estate. But short story long is this money isn't going to be something, unless you just come up on gains, which is something you're now going to be looking for, because when there's a crash, it's all about the rebound. You need to catch the wave up, and we're going to tell you about that wave up and when to jump on. So tune in for that, and in the coming weeks when we figure that out. But for the meantime, in between time, you need to start looking at how you're going to make a W out of a bunch of L's, and they're coming. And I feel like for me, and I've been talking a lot, for me, I'm definitely looking into stocks, not so much currency, but now I definitely had to look at currency. I was really afraid to do with the FedEx, what's that, FedEx, is it? Yeah.
Forex.
The Forex trade, and I was so nervous to pull the trigger. I was going to call and be like, man, should I do it? But I froze, but we saw the consequences of that hesitation. I was right, and I would have made a killing off of it if I just rode that wave a little longer. So let's not be afraid to educate ourselves, one, but two, get on these apps and understand how these systems work, because the sooner you understand the ones and zeros, the sooner you'll be able to start using your internal skill set to make these educated decisions.
Yeah. And I really want to encourage people, cash has and always will be king. And I know a lot of people don't carry cash, but what I will say, you go on Amazon, spend $100, buy you a safe, go to the bank. Every time you get paid, you need to take some cash out and keep it
not in your savings account.
No.
Your savings accounts get annual fees. I'm getting a check. If you got a check from Bank of America, hit me up. I want to see something. But basically, I'm part of this class action lawsuit. And Bank of America is paying out dividends, and I'm happy that at the time, I had some NFL money in that account, so I'm getting major returns off of that.
Yeah.
But they take money from you, and they don't have to tell you when they do it.
Yep.
Why? Why are you paying someone to watch your money when you can physically do it yourself?
Exactly.
If you're not someone that's had your house broken into 10 times in a year, one time, the security nowadays is just too much, and that's what you have insurance for.
Exactly.
So let's start acting like trust. Go into your bank and ask for, if you have over $5,000 in your savings account right now, go in there and ask for it back. Because I went in there and asked for $2,000.
They're not going to give you. And here's the thing. This is what's wrong with banks. So
they called the police on me.
Last month I went into the bank. I had. Well, I won't say, my wife won't be happy with that. Let's just say I went in to ask for more than what my daily withdrawal limit was. So I asked for way more than this, but they were only able to give me $2,500 out of my savings account. First of all, I didn't know that. It was good that I went there and found out, because I needed a significant amount of money to put in my safe, because I was like, wait a minute, I got way too much money in my savings account. So I went and did that, and they was like, well, what we prefer you do is you can transfer however much you want from your savings to your checking, and then withdraw from your check. I'm like, but why? What does it matter? And the guy at the bank didn't have an excuse for me. I said, okay, so you're already putting stipulations on how I can move my money and how I can get it.
And remember, it's your money.
Exactly. But they can't manage my money better than me. They charge me $12 a month to have the account, and then they charge me fees on top of that. So I said, there's no reason why I need to keep that much money on hand there. I said, so I'm going to give you a bit of advice. If you bank, wherever you bank, if you got decent credit, go get a credit card at the bank. Eric, no, credit cards are bad. No, credit cards are good. Would you rather play with your money or the bank's money? So when you have a credit card, you can decide when you want to pay and how much you want to pay. You can pay the bare minimum. Yeah, they hit you with interest, but we're smarter than that. We take the money that we don't need for bills, put it in the safe, and then you put all your bills on auto pay on the bank's credit card, and then you pay the credit card off at the end of the month. And if something was to happen, like an emergency, where you pay half or 3/4 of the credit card off, that's the smart way to do it.
And I know people who have and we'll probably go into another story about this, about how to get rid of your credit card debt. Yeah. I know people who have tons of credit card debt, and I feel like we definitely need to talk about that, because I'm talking from personal experience where I had 4 credit cards, and one of them was a black card, 2 personal cards, and then a company card. And I was racking up charges on that black card upwards of $10,000 a week.
And that's a revolving charge account.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So and when I left the league, I remember I still had a surplus charge of $30,000. So somebody asked me how'd you lose all that debt? I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you how to do it, and also probably even talk about student loans. Sally Mae was why it's important that these constant government shutdowns could help out Sally Mae. So that'll be for another episode. But for right now, keep your eye on the stock market. The wave is coming back up. Monday's gonna be a telltale sign. If you big 3, which big 3 should you be looking out for in your opinion?
On stocks?
Yeah.
I use the stock markets to gauge. Me personally, I don't trade stocks. If I was gonna trade anything, I would be trading the indexes, and I'm just waiting for it to get in to short it down. And then basically what that means is I'm going to sell the Dow Jones and the S&P. I'm going to sell them because I believe I'm making an educated guess that they're going to tank. We just had a glimpse of it, and so when it gets to a certain point,
so S&P for the index. Once we see
and Dow Jones.
If you see 3 people major corporations set up sales in the 3 a.m. mark from Japan, in the House of the Rising Sun, when the market opens up for us over here at 8,
Mm-hmm.
you see a bunch of sales, you ride that wave.
Yep.
Get rid of it and hope for the big return in it. But also remember, if you have a surplus of said stock, keep a little bit. Because if it comes back, you want to ride that wave too. Play the best of both worlds.
Yep.
Alright. So, but it's been great. It's an hour.
Yep.
We've been there. We did it, y'all. We made it. Episode 8.
Man, you know what we ain't did though?
What?
We ain't even talked about no other Black history people, man.
And you know what? I was thinking about that too. This is gonna be week 3. You want to do one separately and just submit it?
I do one. I'm gonna do something nobody. I'm gonna do a person nobody knows. I'm gonna make sure some people go research. I think that's what we need to do instead of doing the obvious one. Like Vivian Thomas, we know nobody knew about that. Malcolm,
a lot of people like Vivian Thomas.
But I got it. I'm gonna drop a name, and I want y'all to go.
No, don't even do that. Let's save that. What we're gonna do is we'll both do an individual separately.
Yeah.
And then we'll just I'll upload it when I get it. I'll put the features to it. I'll listen to it. I'll upload it.
Yeah.
We'll do that way because you're right. We didn't mention one for Valentine's Day, but we got to talk about Black love. So I feel like that was a valid reason. But we're going to get one up to you guys for this week. So if this comes out on Monday, we'll get and show y'all have another one. I don't even know what the date is going to be. What will be the date for?
Oh, snap. Today
you got on?
Today's the 9th.
So what? Monday will be the 12th. And then another 7 days.
Actually, we need to edit that out because it's supposed to be 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look. We videotape this shit 2 weeks in advance. Like, get off our backs. Yeah. But that's when the episode comes out. We're going to do the Black History one for that one.
Yeah.
Or we can even do it at the end of this one. But, Eric, you want to give them a rundown? All right. Yeah, Eric, give them a rundown. We got everything today. So.
Yeah, man. So we talked about Genius Black Dads.
Black Dads.
Yeah, he's not crazy. One's not crazy. Talked about police brutality. Hey, emotional intelligence when you're dealing with officers. I don't care who you are, what color you are, what gender you are. Emotional intelligence.
Okay.
And after that, we definitely got to make sure that we know what's going on with our money. I'm gonna do it. Heero made a good suggestion. Man, I'm gonna do a whole series on it. I'm gonna do broad overview, and then if there's a certain select group of people who want to get more in depth, we'll set that up and make sure we get it.
Yeah, I'm learning how to do live stream capabilities. Some of you guys probably saw me do it with my comic book page on Twitch. I was really shocked to find out that people do use Twitch for other than video games.
Twitch is
a live video gaming service, but the only difference is it allows you to upload pre-made videos and run them as live, and that's really great. So it'll be good for us there. So with that being said, you can find us at the Identity Booth.
Right here. You see?
Facebook group.
Look at those 2 ravishing avatars right there.
But if you want to talk to us there, you can. I have to be nicer. I'm sorry.
No, please come talk to us here.
Come talk to us on the Facebook page. We have a group and a Facebook page. Leave a comment at the end of this. We have great numbers backing us up. We're up 113% right now.
That's thanks to you guys.
There's a small dedicated group of people that are honestly watching this show. And I don't know who you guys are, but I really want y'all to reach out and write me. I don't know why you guys are just so timid about writing. I'm not going to make fun of you. I am. But I promise you I won't say your name when I'm doing it. But hit us up on IG. You can hit me up on IG. You can find me at Project_ETO for Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me on YouTube, Facebook, all that Project ETO. But more importantly, iTunes and YouTube. Write the comments there. Leave a rating. I have 4 ratings on iTunes. I was in tears by some of them. And one of them was definitely written by my mom. But that's what moms are for.
That's exactly what they're
for. So share this with a friend. Share it with somebody that you feel you know. You know somebody that's pregnant right now? They need to hear what we said. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here with us. Eric, anything?
Nah, man. Just go comment here. Hey, sharing is caring. There's a share button on there. Just click the share button. You hear something point?
And tag 100 of your friends.
Hey, man. You know what? I'll tell you what. We need a contest. We need to have a contest. Who can share? Who gets us the most shares? And I mean a share with an actual comment, not a like, a comment. We do want the likes, a like and a comment. How about that?
All right. You know, I'm actually got something working in the plan where I'm trying to get us some merchandise. and I might, demo that merchandise with a new fan base. So we'll work on something that guys get you guys. We care about you. This is a long haul process. But for the meantime and in between time, please take care of yourselves. Please make sure you identify with yourself. It is so important for you to have self-understanding of you and not only the people around you, but more importantly, the people who are watching you. Because they are the ones who truly understand you. And if it ain't yourself in the mirror, I don't want to be that person on the other side. So from Heero, Eric, please take care. This has been the Identity Booth. It's a pleasure. Catch you guys later.